Sir, I've served your family for 15 years. I deserve respect. I stand straight. Charles scoffs. Respect? You're nothing but an old relic. Without me, you'd be begging. I meet his glare. Careful, sir. This insult will cost you. He laughs. Or what? I pulled out an envelope from his coat. Your father left me a test. I tore it slowly. You just failed. I had served the Whitmore family for 15 years, and in that time I had seen wealth, loss, and pride in many forms. Their estate was a palace of marble halls and chandeliers, portraits glaring down from walls, and floors polished so perfectly that my reflection often looked back at me. I was proud of my work, even if it was rarely noticed. One winter evening, as I polished the silverware for an elaborate dinner party, I heard his footsteps. Charles Whitmore, the millionaire son of my late employer, strode in. I had polished carefully, but a faint smudge remained on one of the forks. He snatched it up with a scowl. Henry, look at this. Do you call this polished? Even my driver could do better. I bowed slightly as I had learned to do through years of service. My apologies, sir. I'll correct it immediately. But he wasn't finished. His voice grew sharper, his words heavier. You're nothing but an old relic. If it weren't for me, you'd be begging on the street. Remember your place. You serve, I command. That's all. The room went silent. Other servants froze, pretending not to hear. I stood there, face calm, but inside humiliation burned. 15 years of loyalty reduced to an insult. I wanted to answer back, but I knew my time would come. For you see, Charles's father had entrusted me with something before he passed away. A responsibility, a test. He had seen pride growing in his son and feared what it might become. He left me with a sealed letter and instructions. Deliver it when the time came, when arrogance replaced humility. That night, as I lay awake in my small room at the back of the estate, I knew the time had come. The next morning, I found Charles lounging in his robe, sipping coffee. I approached him quietly. Sir, may I request a word in private? He barely looked at me. This better not be about last night. I don't pay you to sulk. I handed him the envelope. This is from your late father. He entrusted it to me with strict instructions. To deliver it only when I judged you had forgotten humility. He tore the seal and scanned the words. I watched his face pale as he read his father's handwriting. Charles, wealth without respect is ruin disguised as success. You must prove you have not become a tyrant. Henry will present you with a choice. Treat him with dignity or face the consequences of failing this test. Should you fail, the Board of Trustees will know, and certain powers you take for granted will no longer be yours. His hand trembled slightly as he set the letter down. What nonsense is this? My father's been dead for years. You expect me to believe you, of all people, are my judge? I met his eyes. I expect you to believe your father. He knew the corruption pride could bring. He asked me to be the measure of your respect. His face flushed red. So now the servant thinks he's my keeper? This is ridiculous. What consequences could there possibly be? I kept my voice steady. If you dismiss this, the trustees of your father's estate will be informed. The shares you control in Whitmore Hotels are conditional upon this clause. I hold the documentation. It was your father's way of ensuring you never forgot where you came from. For once, he had no words. His pride faltered in front of me. That evening, I heard him pacing the marble floors alone. Pride fought with fear inside him, and though I could not know his thoughts, I suspected his father's voice haunted him as much as mine. The next morning, he summoned the staff to the great hall. His voice, usually so sharp, carried a strange weight. Henry, step forward. I obeyed, careful not to betray my own racing heart. I was wrong, he said. Last night I spoke words that dishonored not just you, but this household. I let my pride overshadow my judgment. For that, I sincerely apologize. Gasps swept through the staff. Charles Whitmore apologizing? In all my years, I had never heard such a thing. I inclined my head. Your words are noted, sir. But an apology must be proven by action. He nodded. Then let me prove it. From this day forward, every employee here will be treated with the respect they deserve. You are not relics. You are the reason this house and this empire stands. The looks on the servants' faces told me all I needed to know. My late master's plan was working. In the weeks that followed, I saw the changes take root. Wages rose, hours shortened, and once a month. Charles dined with us, listening to our concerns. He replaced scolding with encouragement. Arrogance softened into something closer to humility. When I sent word to the trustees that Charles had acknowledged the clause and acted accordingly, they allowed him to retain control. More than that, they praised the transformation. And indeed, the reputation of Whitmore hotels improved. Guests noticed the warmth in the service, the sincerity of the smiles. The empire had grown stronger, not because of wealth, but because of respect. One evening, Charles came to me privately. Henry, you've served this family faithfully, and even when I disgraced myself, you carried out my father's trust. I owe you more than I can repay. But tell me honestly, did you believe I would pass? I gave a faint smile. I believed you had the capacity, sir. But belief alone doesn't save a man. Choices do. He extended his hand. I hesitated, then took it. His grip was firm, his eyes steady. Then thank you, Henry, for saving me from myself. Your father would be proud, I said quietly. Years later, when Charles spoke at leadership conferences, he told our story. Not about wealth or strategy, but about the night he insulted a servant and nearly lost everything. The true measure of a man, he would say, is not how he commands, but how he respects. Wealth is a mirror. It reflects who you are. And I was fortunate to have a servant who was more of a master than I ever was. I remained with the household until my retirement, no longer just a servant, but a trusted advisor and friend. And I never forgot the satisfaction of fulfilling my late master's last request, showing his son that respect, not riches, is the greatest fortune a man can possess. If this story moved, you don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful true stories. Your support allows us to keep delivering valuable insights and stories that inform and inspire people everywhere. Thank you for watching Strangers Who Care, and see you in the next one.